Also do the breakdown. Where do you think people waste money the most in general? Like we can say Kenyans, because you've done like a couple of breakdowns. Like where do you think people, because we're talking about adults, where do you really think they waste a lot of their money when it comes to budgeting?
Oh, that's a good question. So from what I've seen,
Yeah.
there's of course
From the data you've collected.
yeah, from the
yes.
data I've collected. Please, the data people don't come for me.
Yeah.
But from the information I've gathered, I think it really varies on the group, like whether you're low income, mid, and high. So like you said initially, I think when you don't earn a lot of money, you're basically just surviving.
Yeah.
So basically your cash flow in is cash flow out. So whatever you earn is basically just enough to help you survive. So there in that bracket, the wastage that really happens is very minimal because there's no room for wastage. Then we go to the middle class, which is majority of the Kenyans who are now coming up.
Yeah.
The middle class are a lot of people who are low income earners, and now they're getting kuomoka, what people say.
Yeah.
You now start getting the fans, and now you're like, okay, now I can afford this, I can afford that. I think the one mistake I see people doing is lifestyle creep. Like you just inflate your lifestyle instantaneously. And for me, I would recommend progressively, if it's moving house, you move. I mean, you don't jump from 10K to 50, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You jump from maybe 10 to 25 to 30 to 50, depending on how, of course, the income has come in. And lifestyle creep is something that even I suffered from it. Like when I got like my first big boost, I was just like, I want to live in a nice house. I want to get a nice car. I want to live well, da-da-da-da-da. And I mean, as responsible...
You did that as well?
I did. I mean, everybody makes those financial mistakes at the beginning.
And how did that go? Before you go back to how Kenyans, waste money.
So eventually, of course, when I went to the more expensive house, you realize, it doesn't make any sense. And you just naturally downgrade again, back to a much more reasonable house.
Yeah.
And luckily, at least I didn't have to, do it for a very long time. Reality kicked in much.
Reality check, yeah.
Reality kicked in very soon. And I moved back to like a more reasonable, decent house, maybe.
How crazy was the rent?
Months. It was not that... it was crazy for my income, let me say that. It was too high for what I was earning, and it wasn't making any sense.
So we don't talk numbers here. We don't have to.
No, I would say maybe, I don't know, I was netting maybe 80.
Yeah.
And my rent at that time was 28. And for me, that was too high. Or was it even lower? It could have been.
Oh, wait,
lower.
is that high or is that low? Now, I mean, you
the
need to
rent
explain
for
to
me
us.
at that time was high because I'm paying 28,000.
Because net is take home, right?
Yes.
After taxes and everything.
Yes. So actually, no, it was lower. I think the net was like 66. I think 80 was
the gross, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think it was like 66. So you minus 28, you just remain with 40 something. Yeah. I mean, it's barely anything to survive on. So that's what I mean. It's about how much you remain at what they call disposable income, what you remain at your disposal after you've paid all the necessary expenses. And funny thing, the more expensive the house, also the utilities also go up as well. So it's not, a lot of things also...
It has to make sense.
Yes. So
Plus, how much time are you spending in that house anyway?
Exactly. Okay, but I'm an introvert. I definitely use my house.
No. But I'm just saying, if you're waking up to go to an 8 to 5, because for me, my studio is in the house, so... I call people in the house. This is practically like just cutting down on paying for an office or something outside. I just make sure it's comfortable. But if it comes to work, I can just sit down, create my content, and cut down on that expense.
Actually, that does make sense. And actually, that's, smart financial decisions where, as an adult, you have to, marry the two. Like your love for you, business and personal expenses, you're able to comfortably merge the two to a reasonable level, so you're not inflating either one.
True.
Yeah.
So now just still back to that, what other places have you seen? You've said, of course, things like lifestyle.
Yeah.
Said lifestyle, what's the term?
I think lifestyle creep.
Lifestyle creep. So this is where people feel the need to actually spend more.
Oh yeah, or live a higher life than they actually can afford.
Is that peer pressure, or where does that come from? Like in general,
I think it's the keeping up with the Joneses thing. Yeah, where you're trying to keep up with like your peers. And yes, that's a very good thing that you've asked that question. I feel like one thing people don't talk about is the fact that as friend groups, you grow at different levels. Even with relatives, it's normally friend groups and relatives. You're growing at different levels where maybe, I don't know, your best friend now is earning, I don't know, maybe 500,000 and you're earning like 100. And of course, you still want to hang out, you still want to do things together, but you cannot spend at the same level as that person. And those are the things that actually, I feel like as friends and family, we need to be more conscious about, where you don't make the other person, like with baby showers and all these things, people are making people changa, like 3,000 per person. And I mean, we are all not in the same
we are all
situation.
not the same situation. True.
Yes. And those are the things, those are the unfortunate realities that some of our, communities put us in. They are necessary pressures of life.
And I think even in general, like when we're talking about budgeting, what people don't understand is like budgeting and just finances affect everything. Relationships, friendships. Because, like you have that friend who came to you, borrowed you a couple of Kenya shillings, thousands, and they're like, yo, I'm going to return this money. And this is somebody you care about, this is your friend. If they borrowed 100, 150 Gs and, they don't return it, how is that friendship supposed to go on?
Recover, yes.
Yeah, how do we even recover from that? Yes, you're my friend, but, okay, now we come to things like where it's relationship, whether it's like your girlfriend or maybe someone you're married to. Correct. If you're the type of person who's like the main breadwinner in the family and you don't know how to play with your money, like whether it's investment or saving, you affect how maybe the kids are supposed to have their meals, vacations they're supposed to go to, schools they go to. Yes. So, I mean, budgeting is just not something that, for me, honestly, I can take for granted.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
I can't take that for granted.
I definitely agree with that. And it's something more people should normalize. We should, normalize talking about money more. The other thing I also